all to Alexandra Taketa, and I'll let you just go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then just go ahead and get started.
Okay, and can I share my screen because I do have
Yes, you
slides?
can. I fixed that
Okay,
already.
okay, I'm gonna do that. And we're just I'm gonna move this thing so I can cruise around all right. Can you guys all see the slides and see me? Okay, and I can see you. And I'm gonna open up the chat so that I can see that as well. And um,
I'm trying to figure out where I changed that setting here.
I'm going to open up the chat that way I can see it, and I'm gonna hope that we can use that, or we can just sort of speak out because we're not that many people here. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself in a second. But what
Okay.
Dawn had asked me to do was to talk together and have a conversation, have really an interactive conversation about abundance mindset and agent attraction. And I love this topic because I love the topic of abundance. And I just a little bit about me. As Don mentioned, I am the founder of the Money Mastery Academy, and I'm a professional coach. I have been coaching and have had my coaching certification since 1999, 2000, so a long, long time. I spent a good portion of my career in consulting and then working in training and development. I ran all of the professional development for Gap, which is about 100,000 people out of San Francisco, and I ran all their corporate training and worked with executives, developed a lot of their leadership curriculum, a lot of things that actually impact the stores, things of that nature. And then from there, I went on to work with a specialty pharmaceutical called Allergan, where I ran all of their leadership and talent development for another 5 or 6 years before I ended my career in the corporate world. And before Gap and all of that, I had worked in management consulting. So I spent about 20 years sort of in the corporate world. And then I left there and really followed more of my own mission, which was around working with high performing leaders, working with women, developing my own signature process to heal and transform your relationship with money, and working with entrepreneurs who are interested in business growth and unlocking abundance on all levels. And really came to this work through my own personal journey and healing my own relationship with money, transforming my own relationship with abundance. I think some of you have been on other calls. I'm recognizing some of your faces, and where I've told more of my personal story and journey, and that there was a point in time where my husband, who was actually just my boyfriend at that point in time, had given me a pearl necklace. We were a month into our relationship, and I really had a hard time receiving that necklace. And I wanted to say thank you, but I just got this like super uncomfortable feeling in my body, and it started to heat up, and I realized like my throat was closing up, and I was like, excuse me, I need to go to the bathroom. Not quite the response he was looking for. And I remember locking myself in there for a few minutes and being like, what the heck is going on? And it literally took me a couple days of just sort of sitting with that discomfort to figure out what was happening. And there was a lot of things at that point in my life. I was around 25 years old, and I was like, there was a lot of things sort of like all coalescing or all colliding together at the same time that were challenging me. One was my ability to really receive love, and my ability to like do the kind of work that I wanted to be doing in the world, and allow in the kind of money that I wanted to be earning. And I realized in that moment of not being able to receive that pearl necklace that it was about so much more than money. It was connected to my broken relationship with money, but it really was about abundance. It was about allowing all of the goodness to flow inside of my life. And so at that point in time, I made a huge shift and really went to heal my relationship with money. I started that journey, and I can attest that I live a very abundant life. There's really nothing in my life that is reflective of that sort of old self, just because of the amount of transformation work that I've done. And so a lot of that work is what I have embedded inside of my Money Mastery Academy and is integrated into the coaching work that I do. And I really, my work is all based on the premise of giving and receiving, right? And that there is a give and a receive in everything. It's always a complete cycle. And I think that's really going to apply inside of our conversation here today too, that there really is a give and a receive, right? And so when we come motivated out of that, that sort of giving, loving energy, we can really develop authentic relationships. We can connect with people. We can, really create an attractive space where people naturally are magnetized into our world. So certainly that's what I want to do in my coaching, and I live this work. I model what I teach and I coach. I've experienced a lot of the same struggles and fears that come with growth and with creating a business, running a business, working inside of organizations, as well as running my own successful organization. And I've built multiple businesses. So I get that there are challenges to that, especially when you are sort of the head of your business as you are as a realtor. There's some unique pieces to that. So I want to bring that into this conversation. So let's talk about where we're going to go, and definitely use the chat as we go along if there's questions. So today I want to talk about abundance mindset. I'm going to be talking about claiming your confidence and your purpose specifically, and really inside of that little conversation, giving yourself permission to go after more, as well as introducing you to what I consider to be the abundance formula. And then I want to dig into agent attraction roadmap, calling in your agents or your clients, connecting with your prospective agents. And my request would be that you just stay open, right? You commit, you take responsibility, you play at a level 10, you really think about, what do I want to come out of this conversation, right? What will this workshop space that we're in, what's this going to create for you? And I would love you to type that into the comments right now. Today, this is the workshop that's going to unlock what? Today, this is the workshop that's going to unlock what? And just type it into the comments or speak it out.
I'll speak it out because I'll speak it out while they're typing, but like I'm excited about this myself because, 2 years ago when I took that class, I created that space where I went and did the work and I would do the meditations. I would do the things that brought the leads. And now I have over 500 agents in my downline at Epic. Like it's so crazy looking back because I did the work, but now I'm kind of on a different thing. Like I'm trying to create things for the agents that are at Epic, and I'm doing all these other things, and it's taken away from those tasks I was doing back then. And I want to do it all. I want to make sure that I don't put that part behind because it's the most important part and it takes the least amount of time. And I don't understand why it's not the first thing I do every single day.
Okay, that's a good one. So, and I'm loving, thank you, Renee, for the word consistency. So just noticing, what the
Ah,
barriers as we go into this, noticing what the barriers are for you to consistency of what it would look like to be more consistent, right? So that'll be powerful for you. And Dawn, is there one way you would sum up what you said?
just I think the same thing that Renee said. She said it all in one sentence. Took me 10, but
Yeah, and also just like making
the
it the main thing,
consistency.
right?
Yeah, making it
The
one
consist
thing
and the
because
focus, right?
yeah, making it the one thing and uh, uh, doing it with that abundance mindset that I'm helping people and that I'm doing something good, not something bad. Because a lot
So
of agents
focus and
think of
follow up.
recruiting as not a good thing. When in reality, if we could bring agents over to Epic and introduce all of these things, like it's such a gift.
Yeah, and that's part of the abundance mindset is realizing that it's not a limited pie. So we're going to talk about that because that might be one of the things. It's sort of like if there's more agents, is there not enough for me then, right? We can get really easily get into a scarcity mindset around that. So
Yeah.
I love that. So consistency unlocks focus, making it the main thing, the main focus, the follow up. There's some really powerful words here. So write that down for yourself if you haven't already, even if you didn't share it. Just know what it is for you. What is it that you want to unlock? And then at the end, we're going to touch base back on that. So um, let's talk about abundance mindset and giving yourself permission for more. And you're going to realize that I talk relatively quickly, and I'm going to try to keep us on pace so we honor our time. So, right now, just do a little assessment for me. How are you showing up inside of your business, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself?
And this is for your agent attraction business. I just want to say, like, I think of myself as having two businesses. One is my real estate business, and one is the agent attraction. But this call today is specifically because I personally know that each one of you are wanting to recruit and either not sure how, what, why, or what. So that's what this is talking about. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you in your recruiting business? Attraction business, sorry.
Yeah. And I would just say, a piece of this conversation really is about giving ourselves permission to more for more. And I love the honesty here. 4, 6, right? 3. Yeah, I mean, if you were at a level 10, you would be like this would be a totally different conversation, right? We'd be sharing like best practices together. Right? You'd be 5, just started with Epic in January. Okay. So I would say that, if you're not at where you want to be, just notice that difference and that's okay, right? Because and that it's really powerful to be here. And I would encourage you to just, surrender to that desire to be at a higher level with this, right? Because if you we all have desires, right? We all come in to the world with a purpose. I love words. I'm a writer. One of the things I discovered recently was that the word desire actually comes from de sire, which is from the Father, right? And I love to think that like nothing can stop, God's plan in our life. That there is like if we are meant to do things, if we're here to share our gifts, and um, part of being able to get to those desires to allow the things that we want in our life is often um, not about competence or our capability or our intelligence. It's really just giving ourselves permission. It starts with giving ourselves permission to actually want and have the things that we want. And that's part of that abundance mindset. There's a gentleman named Gay Hendricks. He talks about a philosophy or a principle called the upper limit, which is that we all kind of like butt up against a ceiling. We all have a comfort zone that we're comfortable in, right? We're the amount that we will allow ourselves to earn, the amount of agents that we would be comfortably having, on our team, the amount of houses that would be comfortable for us to share, right? And anytime we start to get above that, it's like raising the temperature in the room. All of a sudden we start to sweat and get uncomfortable, and then we do things either semi-consciously or unconsciously that take us back down to that comfortable level, so we stay just underneath that ceiling. And so part of being able to grow past that and allow that ceiling to open is giving ourselves permission to really be okay allowing in the things that we desire, right? And I just want to remind us that we are all born with desires. We are born wanting. This whole universe is one of growth and expansion, right? Like the trees are expanding, are growing, the plants are growing. Like if things aren't growing, they are dying, right? So like we cannot suppress our wanting. And so there's nothing wrong with that. So just like even write it down in your journal, like I give myself permission for more. Use that as a mantra. When you start to like, I don't know, is this really possible for me? I'm giving myself permission for more, right? So just notice where you are. Like if you were a 3 or a 5 or a 7 or a 6 or whatever, just notice that. And I want you to notice also like, um, how does that make you feel, right? And notice any of that discomfort, because what I want to reinforce for you is that discomfort is not reflective of your potential. It's reflective of any of the conditioning that you have, right? That's just sort of like just the ways it's back to that upper limit. It's just the ways that you've been operating that have been keeping yourself smaller than maybe you have potential to grow into. So, I would also love to ask you one more question, and this might make you feel a little bit more uncomfortable, but that's the point. So, how much do you want to be earning in passive revenue from your agents per month? You don't have to type that onto the screen if you don't want to, but write it down for yourself. And if you were to get like really big and bold, what would it be? And if you were to just sort of give yourself a comfortable number, what would that be? And just notice the difference. Notice how it makes you feel. Does it scare you? Does it excite you? Does it make you question if it's even possible? Again, any of that fear is just reflective of the conditioning, not necessarily your potential, right? So just hold on to that, because this is going to be powerful for you as we move through this. So I want to talk a little bit about the energy of money, because probably for some of you, like, one, I want to say, if you're in real estate, you're going to have a certain level of comfort with money, but there's nobody who comes into this world, that moves through this world, that doesn't have some tiny bit of money baggage. It just is not possible to travel through life and not have some of it, right? We pick it up from the people that surround us, our family members, experiences that we've had, whether they were traumatic or fantastic. We the just sort of the collective consciousness, like we have things that we hear all the time that are said about money, that we start to take on. It's almost like it starts to like cake itself onto us and create this like layer of dirt that we literally have to like wash off of our bodies and have like a clean slate around. And when I started doing my own money work, one of the first places that I went to was realizing that I had a lot of like truths about money that I thought, right? I thought all sorts of things about money. And when I really started reading about money and looking at people, reading books about people who are successful with money, or just sort of understanding like what was the origin of money and the evolution of money. I mean, I like went back to, how money was created. I realized that most of the stuff that I thought about money was actually untrue. It was really just an opinion or a perspective that I was holding on to because of, what other people around me that I respected and were influential in my life had told me. And so I've just got some truths about money that I'm going to put up here. One, that I just want to bring us back to this abundance mindset, that the stream of abundance is flowing generously. Abundance is not something that we create. It's just always, it is, right? And it's unlimited, right? It's all around us. It's really accessing that abundance is as easy as allowing ourselves to like take a deep breath, settle into the present, and allow it to flow, right? And this is really powerful because there's nothing limited about it, right? It's remembering that there is enough for everybody, and that God has a plan for everybody to succeed, right? So you don't have to be in charge of somebody else's success by trying to limit your own. right? Like you don't have to make space for them to be successful by limiting what you have. Actually, as you become more and more successful, as you expand and grow into your highest potential, you actually expand the potentiality and the abundance for everyone else, right? The stream of abundance actually expands proportionate to match your desires. It's not a limited pie. So this is super important. Money is not good or bad or neutral. It really is just a neutral, it's not good or bad, it's a neutral resource, right? I like to think of it as something that's here to support you in achieving and fulfilling your highest purpose, right? So I just want to level set with that. Is there anything that's coming up that you have thought that's like a sort of a truth about money that doesn't that you're ready to let go of or to release as you move into allowing these bigger numbers inside of your reality?
I'll
Okay.
share. I come from a family of educators, and so people that don't make big money on an annual basis, wonderful people, but very careful with their money because of the type of career paths they've chosen. And so um, I think that makes me feel like the tap is here instead of way up here. That
Yeah.
and having grown up, not only my husband's family are all educators, my family educators. So that's what I'm surrounded by. And I'm the only one in my generation that's in business for herself. So I can see that I'm influenced by that, their standard of living, their lifestyle choices, all of that.
Sure. And there's likely a lot of judgment or opinions that come with that, right? And so just noticing that. And everybody gets to influence they what they want to create in their life, right? And so, choosing a different path is sometimes um, brings with it another layer of challenge. So that's going to be really powerful for you to realize, Charlene. And likely there's other things to unpack there. We're not going to unpack all of it. We're going to touch just briefly on this as we go into this because um, as Dawn said, she took a whole course with me on that, right? That was, multiple weeks. But it's really powerful to recognize, okay, when are my truths about money, right, really coming into play and for us to question them. And so if I could leave you with anything as you go forward into this, into expanding your agent base and things like that on your team, where are you letting old stories, old patterns, old ways of being limit your success, right? Take you into a limited reality rather than an abundant reality. So one of the things I want to do really quickly as we go into this is just give you my creative formula for abundance. And so I see this as 4 steps, and it doesn't really matter what you're doing, whether it's attracting agents or clients or creating a new home for yourself or a car, or just really wanting to invite more happiness into your life, right? They're all different forms of abundance. The first step is always getting clear on what you want and why you want it. So we've already started this process. We've talked about, how much money you actually want to bring in a month. You're also going to want to get clear on the number of agents that you want. And the other piece of your business, maybe you're thinking about how many homes you want to sell. I would say that there's a piece that is tandem to this, which is the emotional piece, which is the feelings that you want to have about money, the experiences, the things that this money is going to support in your life, right? This is the why you want it, right? So not only getting really clear about what you want, but then also the why you want it. What are the feelings you want? What's the joy that you're going to experience out of this? What's the purpose of this? The second piece is this passionate desire, raising the energy, choosing the emotions, the beliefs, the feelings that support that desire. I always tell women to really embody get into using mental rehearsal, embodying the energy of the abundant woman that you are, that already has this team of agents, that's already leading, you know, these high producers on your or in your inside of your organization. What does that feel like? How does she lead? How does she come to a call? How does she approach new people who are coming into her world to join her team? This is really, my invitation here is for you to invite in a knowing that the dreams that, the desires that you have they're meant for you. And they are always created. The things that you're desiring are going to be created, right? They are manifesting you just as you are manifesting them. That's the energy of this piece. The third piece is creating a plan, right? The key to winning is action, right? So it's not sitting around, it's not chasing after it, it's not like hoping it's going to come and not doing anything about it. It's really getting clear about what you intend to exchange. This is the give and the receive. What's the time, the product, the service, the energy, whatever that you're going to put out there? And also, what's the timeline? How in what time period do you want to get to that $5,000 a month or $15,000 a month, or for some of you, the $50,000 a month? What's the timeline that feels reasonable? How are you going to step yourself there? What are the inspired actions that you're going to take? That's the third piece. Really getting into being clear that your work is to offer, to invite, to welcome, to share, to clarify, to lead, to set boundaries, to show up, right? That's the part 3. Part 4 here is really about the commitment, the allowing, right? Showing up to do the work, deciding to achieve it, cultivating the faith, maintaining your belief, right? And working your plan. And part of like that, it's sort of the active surrender mode, right? You've let it go. You're no longer, you just believe it's going to be, but you are actively simultaneously working to make it happen, right? You're following your plan. Your work is to claim your power, right? To know that whatever you are after is actually a match for you, right? All of that is going to create the space for the alignment that you're desiring. So these are the 4 big steps. So let's talk about claiming your confidence and purpose. I'm going to walk through 3 different things here, and I want this to be super interactive. Claiming your confidence and purpose, calling in the clients or the agents, and then connecting with them. So let's talk about some of the top obstacles. What are things that are standing in the way of you actually, inviting people to join your team? What have been things that have felt like have been, what are the things that stand in the way of you, having a full slate of really high performing agents on your team already? Not having a clear message to share. Yep. Not sure who to invite. I'm going to put a few up here. These are what I would call some of the really common ones. Just like, fear of rejection. What if they don't like me? They might say no. I'm too scared to share it, right? They seem like they've already got a good thing going on there. Maybe they don't want to hear what I have to say. Sometimes it's feeling like a fraud, the imposter syndrome. What if they like, I'm new to this, I don't really have all these people. What if they find out they don't know what I'm doing? Like, I'm new to Epic too. Why should I invite them over? Not feeling confident, unclear of your message. We already said that one. A lot of times that shows up trying to like copy other people or follow all the gurus and what their magic formula is, but it doesn't really feel unique to you. And so, or it doesn't really plug into what your unique gifts or talents are. And so then it just kind of falls flat. So having that, that message that's really on point and connected to your gifts and talents is going to be essential. And then, of course, the money and abundance blocks, right? Limiting beliefs about money, unconscious or semi-conscious stories, patterns, or habits, and ways that you block yourself, right? And that could be some of the ones that you've even mentioned, like not having enough time to nurture them, right? So instead of actually making the time to nurture them, you just don't, and then those people don't join. And that's one of the ways that you keep hitting that income ceiling. That would be a great example of just sort of like continuing to do what you've always done rather than shifting and thinking, hey, if I want to go somewhere I've never been, I actually have to do things I've never done, right? If nothing changes, nothing changes. Definitely feeling like they already have a good thing. Yeah, why would they want what I have to offer, right? That's that fear of rejection. So these are some of the really common ones. You guys, I've felt all these things. My guess is every single one of us have felt all these things. Can we like raise our hand if we felt any of these things? I just like everybody's raising their hand. So these are top obstacles for a reason. And I want us to just to ground in with a couple different tools so that we can actually start to shift out of these. And the first one is just claiming our confidence, right? And I have a little a worksheet up here, and at the end of this, I'm going to give you a code. If you want to download any of these tools, you can. I'll give you the workbook. But really remembering, right? Who am I? What are my gifts? What is my message, right? Why does somebody want to join my team, right? And these are really good journal questions for you to get clear about that are going to help you. If you don't know what your gifts are, here's where they come from, right? Life learnings. I'm naturally good at what? These are my personal strengths, right? Some of you are like amazing organizers. You have incredible systems. Some of you are like passionate cheerleaders, right? You are phenomenal coaches. You are naturally good with numbers or doing all the calculations, or maybe you are incredible like relationship people, right? You have phenomenal people skills and you build relationships and connections and um, authentic interactions, right? So like all the clients that you've ever had become repeat customers and incredible referrers for you, right? These are the kinds of things that I want you to start to get clear about, right? Because when you're really clear about this kind of level of confidence, it's magnetic. It's not about like blowing your horn and, bragging or anything like that. It's literally, it's not egoic at all. It's literally just showing up in your, you know, amazingness and just being who you are, right? And that kind of confidence is felt. That kind of presence is felt and it's attractive, right? It's magnetic. So being really clear on this, right? Because this is also going to help you um, get really clear on what your message is, right? So this is the first step to understanding your message, because if you're unclear or inconsistent in your messaging, guess what? Your soulmate agents are going to be confused about who you are and what you do too, right? So getting really clear about who you are and what it is that you offer, not trying to copy what Dawn is, not trying to copy what some other like amazing high performer is, but doing you really beautifully. So what's your superpower? What can you uniquely help your soulmate, whether it's again, you've got these two pieces to your business, just focused on your agents. What are you going to really be able to do with those agents that makes it super attractive to be on your team? And maybe just start to type some of those into the comments so we can hear them. Really good at systems. Yeah. You are really good at systems, Dawn, because I've seen the back office on in a lot of her things, and she's got really tight systems. So and it's what allows her to do as many things as she does, because she's got really tight systems, and that allows her to delegate and have other people supporting her, which is also powerful. Listening is my superpower. I'm an encourager. Yeah. And that's going to be really amazing, especially as you bring new agents on, because they're going to want to ask you a ton of questions and like try to figure stuff out. And because you're a really good listener, that means you're also really good at asking questions, right? Like pulling out what does somebody need to learn and helping them find their answers. I genuinely care about people and I want them to succeed. Yes, finding the resources and being a cheerleader. I think a lot of you are going to be cheerleaders, right? Because it's super exciting to be building relationships with your agents, but also with people who are buying houses. Like it's a phenomenal, it's a huge life moment when you buy a home and being able to like cheer somebody and coach them through it, because sometimes there's a lot of like heavy stuff that you have to deal with too. I love seeing people win. It's not always about me. Yeah, and that's going to be amazing if you're leading those agents, because you're going to do everything in your that's possible, like inside it with the resources that you have to help them be successful. So this is super powerful. So here's a way to just sort of, get clear on who it is and, like what it is that you offer. Just creating a personal commitment statement for yourself. I call this the be, do, have, right? This is just a simple formula to guide your personal commitment, right? I'm showing up for my business by being, this is who you are, by being my cheerleader self, by being a powerful listener, by being an encourager, by being, a leader who X, Y, Z, right? So that I can generate and create X amount of agents, right? So that I can lead my agents to be highly profitable, to feel confident, all of those things, right? This is what you're doing. And then as a result, I have created my $50,000 a month, my $5,000 a month, plus a team of individuals that I adore working with, that I cannot wait to help these agents, right? That's how Dawn feels all about all of you. That's why she's organizing things like this. She wants to help you be successful. She's here, creating opportunities for you to learn and blossom, right? Like that's part of what she's doing, right? Because she loves it. So as a result, what do you have as a result of that? And how do you feel? These are all the components, right? If you can really tighten this one thing up, this is going to become your compass. This is your North Star to like, oh, this is why I'm doing this. This is what I have to offer. This is what I'm putting out there. This is the energy that I'm expending in order then to receive. And then what is it that you're receiving? The very tangible, practical dollar, number of agents, along with the emotional piece of that, right? Because all of this is going to help you get into that mental rehearsal game of becoming the person who has this. Is this landing? Just give me a yes in the comments. Okay, good. Okay, so a few other really good journal prompts that can ground you into your confidence, right? So that you want to go out and share and attract the agents. What are my top gifts? What makes me unique? What's the purpose and the why behind your business? I would love for you to answer this question. What's the direct impact for you? Even inside of this call, a lot of us have externalized it. We like to cheer on other people, but like what happens for you? Not just your bank account, but like what happens for you personally when you get to this milestone? How do you feel about yourself? Who have you become in the process? Right? What is that direct impact for you? Because that's part of the abundance transformation, is really allowing yourself to go on that growth journey. When you're really serving the greater purpose, what does this feel like? When you're, really in touch with your gifts and what you bring, what does it feel like when you're sitting there and you're encouraging someone, you're seeing them light up, you're seeing them have success in their business, right? What does that feel like? Dawn, you got a question?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to share something that I think might help. It's like an exercise for this part right here, because a lot of times, and I remember this was me, so this is why I want to share this. We look at these questions and we're like, well, I don't really have anything to offer. Like sometimes, or we have those one things that you posted. Someone, and it might have been you, Alexandra, told me to go back and write down over the past 20, 30 years, 10 things that I did that I thought were amazing. And I did that. And I had to really stop and think about like, okay, I went all the way back to my teenage years and really pulled out some stories. It was probably April, because I think this has to do with stories. But it empowered me to really think, oh my gosh, I did that. Like just getting my real estate license, I did that. You know how many people in our country would love to be able to have the opportunity to just get their real estate license? Like there's a lot of things that as women we bury and we forget that we have that superpower. So, a good exercise, just go back in your life and write down your top 10 most your biggest accomplishments that you were able to do. That's it. That's all. I just wanted to share that little exercise to help you guys pull out the good that you have in you.
It's a great exercise. And the woman that she's referring to, April, she and I had a joint business together for 5 years that was very successful. And one of the things we would often do about every quarter was we would make these lists together of like, what are the things that we're really proud of having done in the last, 3 months. And then the next 3 months, and then we would do it at a year process. And I think it's what honestly was so powerful in propelling our growth forward, because we grew a very big business in a very short amount of time together, that impacted a lot of people. And getting into this really magnetic energy is part of that. Just it's holding that space of confidence. And again, not from an ego or bragging or prideful way, but really from a place of um, you're here serving your greater purpose, right? To that end question. Like this is part of your purpose, right? This is part of how all of your gifts flow through you. So really getting in touch with that. I think it's a powerful way to ground into your confidence and get rid of those fears of rejection or feeling like an imposter or a fraud, right? This is the solution to that. It's also going to be essential if you want to actually call in the agents, those high performing agents, right? Because when you're in a place of confidence, then you're going to allow yourself to be visible. And I want to make a distinction between visibility and messaging here. So I've written some definitions down because, visibility is where your future clients or your future agents, they actually get to know you, they get to know your offers and what it is that you do and how you can help them. So it's like you connecting, it's you being out in the environment, connecting with all of the other agents that are out there. Some of them are not, they have not come over to Epic. Maybe they work for Keller Williams or, who knows what, Berkshire Hathaway, and they're, they could be on your team, right? They start to know who you are, what it is that you do, and how you can help them. Maybe they see you presenting at some other conference about something else, and they just sort of fall in love with your style and your leadership and your ability to really relate with people authentically. And they're like, oh, this woman's got something going on. I want to go over and talk to her, right? That's the visibility piece, right? It's where you're out front and people get to know who you are. The message piece is actually how you speak to those people, right? It's the things that you concentrate and say. It's what you're messaging out to your ideal clients, your customers, your prospective agents. It's the way that you are connecting with their core views and values, right? There's something about what you're doing that's connecting for them personally, right? So in order for that messaging to be clear, you have to know who you serve, the problems that you solve, and what's the result or the transformation that's possible for them in partnering up with you. So, is there a particular group of people that you have found, you really love having as agents on your team. Maybe they're former realtors, maybe they're women, maybe they were, they're like at that season of life where their kids have grown, who knows, right? You figure that out. And then what are the problems that you solve? Maybe this is a piece of your business where, Epic has really created a lot of solutions that used to be things that were hard inside of your, you know, your the old way of doing things, right? And then what's the result of the transformation, right? What are these people going to get out of coming over here? And it can't just be financial, but likely it's also part of the community. It's part of the relationships. It's part of yes, it's the financial pieces, and being able to explain all of that is super essential, but it's also the transformation that this person is going to experience, right? It's you being willing to share your story, just like Dawn said. Like, she came into the money mastery class and did some of that work. And as part of that, then was confident enough to switch over from her other realty group to start Epic and build, right? She had that confidence. And then here's the backside of that story with, 500 agents deep on her team, right? She didn't start with that. She built that, right? And likely each of you has some sort of success story like that too. And that's going to be powerful for you to share, not from a, hey, look at me, but from a, I want to invite you into this, right? It's not making it about you, right? And what tends to happen is our natural default is not to go into that sort of connection piece, but just like, oh, well, let me tell you all about Epic and why it's so amazing, right? It's product selling or it's transactional focus. And really, your messaging and your visibility really is about creating connection. So it's taking the focus. The default is when we don't focus on building the relationship, and that's exactly what we want to do, is focus on building the relationship. And I think it's actually beautifully aligned to what all of you mentioned inside of the chat as some of your core talents and gifts. So many of you said, I'm an encourager. I'm a leader who loves to ask questions. I love watching people win, right? I love developing relationships. That's where we want to put our focus, right? Because that's a big piece of the agent attraction. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about some messaging, because I think this is a way to get to kind of tie this back in, right? And Dawn and I have talked a lot about this, right? As she's like doing YouTubes and other things, she's like really clear on what her value buckets are and what it is that she's constantly speaking to, so that people can know who she is and what kinds of problems she solves, and what's the result of the transformation that's there for them, right? So I've given a couple different examples here. Like, I've worked with people from a lot of different types of businesses who have sort of a similar model to like an Epic, where you have, a downline, so to speak, where you get passive revenue, right? Somebody in like a health or wellness might be talking about nutrition or exercise or mental strength, like that. If I'm thinking about my own business, right? Like, I wouldn't be talking about nutrition or fashion or something like that, because it has nothing to do with what I do, right? I'm going to be talking about abundance, right? As a coach, I'm going to be talking about business growth. I'm going to be talking about personal development. I'm going to be talking about, healing your relationship with money. Those are going to be value buckets that are front and center for me, because those are going to be messages that resonate with the people that I want to serve, right? They're going to know that if they come into my world, I'm going to help them heal their relationship with money. If they come into my world and do coaching, I'm going to help them grow their business. And yes, we're going to work on the abundance and the money mindset too, right? So what does that look like for you? I've started to just give you a couple examples there. I've shared some of my own. I want to share a couple other ways that this could look like for you. If you're doing agent attraction, maybe you're talking about entrepreneurship and business building, right? What does it look like to grow your real estate business? Maybe that's one of your value buckets. I'm making this up. I could be wrong.
No.
Maybe it's leadership and growth, right? Here's how I'm going to train you as a leader. Like, you don't have to know all the things. I'm going to give you those skills. Dawn has an amazing program that she's developed around freedom to flourish, right? She's got all this recorded content. She's got all these resources. She's got power girls coming together. She's got these meetings happening. She is serving you, right? In lots of different ways. So that's like one of her value buckets. That's one of the things that she brings forward. Real estate landscape, the target market area that you're dealing with. Maybe that's one of your value buckets. I would encourage you to think of this if there are sort of like two circles. One is your client circle, right? Your customers, the people who you are serving to sell, and you're either the listing agent or the buying agent. And then there's this circle of your of the agents who work with you on your team. There's probably a place where the two overlap, right? And there's distinct value buckets that you present for the people that you serve as clients, and then there's distinct value buckets that serve just those agents. So I've got the agent ones here, but probably this real estate landscape target market area, that's one that connects together, right? That would be one of those spaces where it connects together. Can you guys think about the three buckets that, like, if you're going to go out and like share, hey, these are the things I'm going to consistently talk about that are going to attract agents onto my team, what would they be? These are things that you might create content around. You might have emails going out about this. You might do a Facebook Live about one of these topics. You might be putting things on Instagram about this sort of stuff, right? What does it look like to be, what is, some of the main hurdles to overcome in the first 3 months as you come on to being a realtor?
One thing that would be really good for us is sharing how to use and implement all the Epic benefits. I do a weekly benefit. Well, I just started doing a weekly benefit YouTube video, and I did my first. I used to do just the reels, but I started doing an actual YouTube video and really getting a little bit deeper, and I loved it this morning. So that's something that could be on that bucket list.
Yeah, and that could go either inside of this bucket of entrepreneurship, business building, or leadership or growth, right? Like these are sort of the high level topic areas, but there might be several things that you do um, underneath that. Yeah. And so under, building a business, maybe one of the conversations that you're having with people is like, what's been beneficial about being at Epic? What's different, right? Um, what's different here, right? That might be something that goes into one of these. So these value buckets are sort of like the high level categories, and there would be multiple, ideas or content that could come under that you would be consistently talking about. So again, this is so that somebody else who doesn't know you can come onto your YouTube, can show up on your Facebook page, can happen upon your website, hear you at a meeting or whatever, and know, oh, I get who she serves. I know what problems she can solve. If I become an agent with her, I would be somebody who would be good for her team. I know how she can help me, and I get what's going to be possible for me if I join her team. I'm really clear on all those things, right? So that's what this is about. So I want to encourage you as homework to actually go back and do that, right? Really get clear about who is your ideal agent. Who do you serve, right? What are the problems that they face? What's getting in the way of the results that they want? Again, maybe they're at some other, type of real estate firm, and it's just like they do not have the same type of tools. They don't have the access to the passive revenue, right? They don't have the same type of resources that are possible. Maybe they're like spending crazily on, on all their advertising or whatever it is. Like, what is getting in the way of the results that they want? And how can you help them see what is possible? And in tandem with that, what is your magnetic message? Really thinking back to that place of confidence, the gifts that you bring, and what are the key value buckets that you want to be communicating to people. So you're going to do that in a consistent, focused way. so that people are really clear about how you can help them. Is that good? Is that helpful? Okay. So let's talk about connecting with your clients and agents. I think that there are so many different ways to connect with people, and we often think, like, I don't know where to find my agents. Like, how am I going to find these people? Right? I've made a list here of just like 33 ways that people could actually be connected with, whether it's videos. Now Twitter is called X, but YouTube, SEO, networking events, your existing client base, joint ventures, collaborations, website, online events, Instagram, Facebook, speaking, right? Blogs, workshops, podcasts. Like there are so many different ways that you could be connecting with people. And what I would encourage you to do is to, just make a list of what are your top ways that you want to connect with people. And again, at the end, if you want to grab this workbook, I have a text that you can get immediate access to it. So choose your top 7. Think about it. Like maybe you love speaking, maybe you love going to workshops, maybe you love referrals are your jam, and it's like the way that you do your business. Like write that down as one of your top ones. Maybe you are like really passionate about being a YouTuber and you've got, a whole scene going on around that. Whatever it is for you, you figure it out, right? But pick your top ones. And then I would say narrow that down to like a 3-point funnel. What are your biggest opportunities? What are like what I would call in Money Mastery your money makers, right? These are the places that if you put your time and attention, this is always going to bring in results for you. So maybe it's that, you want to, Dawn, I know you've been looking at, doing more, you do YouTube and you have your, your lives and things like that. You're also going out and speaking. And then from there, you're booking people into phone calls, right? So you're having actual real life, intimate, conversations with people where you have the opportunity to convert them to become agents on your team. I would suggest that all of you should be doing that. If you're not having those one-on-one conversations, you are missing a big opportunity, right? Renee, do you have a question or a comment?
You're muted.
There you go.
Wait, you're still
no.
muted, Renee.
Hello. Wait.
There you are. There you are.
Okay.
There you are.
Okay. So I just wanted to share something that I have been taking full advantage of, that it's easy for me because I'm not necessarily the high I temperament where I'm like can just talk to any and everybody. A lot of times I kind of sit in the background. Now I've forced myself to be a little more chatty, taking on this position at Epic and moving more into agent attraction. But I'm saying this to say I'm gonna keep it brief. I'm a part of it's not a network, it's like a mentorship group. It's all agents in there. They're all over the country. And I take advantage of every time they talk about Lofty, because the person that teaches the class, she's a high Lofty user and everybody wants Lofty. So today, just so happens today, she taught a class about cleaning up your database and how she uses Lofty. And everybody's in the chat talking about, oh, I paid $49 for Lofty. Oh, I just paid $300. I just paid $600. So I just typed in the chat, I get Lofty for free at Epic Realty if anybody is interested. I tell you, I had like 8 people. I'm interested. I'm interested. I'm interested. So then I started going into the DMs and saying, this is my phone number. Give me a call. I had 2 people call me. I have a meeting today at 5:00 with one young lady. She was like, I need a change. I need a change. So it's something as that simple as like being in a group of other agents, because you get to hear their pain points. And because we offer so many benefits, it's like our benefits always tap into the pain points. And that's a huge one because Lofty is expensive. And I was like, I get the premium Lofty, not just Lofty, I get premium Lofty for free. And I was like, I'm interested. I'm interested. So I have about 8 people that I'm following up.
Love it, Renee. It is so
That's
good. And that's such a
amazing.
wonderful example for everybody to hear. And like, if I were putting that on the funnel, I would say like communities or networking and groups, like that would be one of your funnel points, because one of the assets that and super talents that you have is being a really good listener and building relationships, right? Interacting on that one-on-one basis. So you're in there, you're actually paying attention, you're hearing what people's pain points are, and then you can go back and have individual conversations with them and just point out like, here's what's possible for you. And they're going to know, they're going to see, oh wait, like she got me, she understood who I am, she heard my problem, and she has a potential solution for it, right? Those are the three pieces that we just talked about. So I love that. And that's the whole point of this, is figuring out, drilling down to what's the most strategic, most productive, most enjoyable, like fulfilling, fruitful thing that you will commit to. So if you hate doing Facebook Lives, don't do that. Like, don't write that down as one of your things. Maybe you want to go and do what Renee's doing, like be in the background of the group, just listening, and then initiating individual conversations through that powerful listening, right? So what's the most strategic, most productive, and most joyful thing that you will commit to? Not what Don's going to do or what Charlene's going to do, but like what you would love to do, right?
That's so
So does
cool because
everybody
you
have a
could
few
sign up.
things?
There's so many, like, I love that because, like, your goal could be to sign up for one class per week or something. Like, that gives you so many opportunities. I love it.
Yeah, plus it's growth, and it maybe
Yeah.
it hits another like thing that you want to do, which is learn, and then you go and take that back to your agent team. Hey, here's something I learned in this workshop. Here's three great tips that I got out of it. You guys might want to check it out, right? Or you can refer them back to take that same workshop, right? If it was powerful. So this is where it comes down to the actual plan. Three ways that people will connect and hear about you. What's your plan, right? What are your three ways? And then get really specific for yourself. What are your goals? How many new clients or agents do you want to welcome in the next month? Where are you going to actually commit to being visible, to showing up? What are you committed to doing as your next action step? Many of you said, hey, I want more consistency. Like I need to focus, I need to follow up, I need this to be the main focus. This is the way you make that happen. Again, action is key to success, right? And it's the, having a plan is halfway to winning, right? So get your plan put down. What are your goals? How many new agents? How many customers or whatever are you going to want to welcome in the next month? Where are you committed to showing up and getting visible? What are you committed to doing as your next action step? And then lastly, getting back to that upper limit, that sort of that all those scarcity ways that we show up in scarcity and getting ourselves back into abundance. What are you going to shift or do differently in order to actualize these goals? Is there something you have to give up? Is there, you know, is there something that you just need to like think differently about? Maybe it's just that mental rehearsal game of getting back into that abundant self, you know, woman, version of you that has already done this thing. How is she showing up to do this plan? Maybe it's just shifting into that. Is this helpful? Yes. Okay. So we are just over an hour. I want to give you, this is the link to get the free workbook. You can just access it directly if you have a phone in the US and you text 33777 and you type that word attract. It's going to open up, it's going to give you a direct link. It's just going to, you're going to have to submit your name and your email. Then I can actually send you an abundance mindset activation meditation. And then you'll also get a link that you just click on it and it'll open up to the website directly with this free workbook, and you can download it and print it out for yourself. So everything that we have talked about, it's all there for you, all those workbook pages, and you can just print it out yourself or save the PDF if you want to just have it on your website. want to open it up for any questions and we can go from there. So again, just if you want to get out your phone and text it, the number is 33777, and then just type the words attract, and it'll lead you through the process. All right. What kinds of questions do you guys have or comments?
Thank you so much. I felt like it was a really good process. And now implement.
How
Feel
are you
free to
guys
ask me.
feeling? Yeah,
Sorry. I was just
go
going to
ahead.
say, feel free to ask me questions too about how working with Alexandra has changed how I do everything.
How has it changed how you do everything, Dawn?
Well, I mean, specific questions. It's just been so helpful because, for one, like I didn't realize how much I thought in scarcity and lack. And once I started thinking in abundance and finding my value and my worth and being able to use those gifts, like it's just changed my life, honestly, because I didn't realize what I was doing. Talking self-talk, negative self-talk, loops in my head that were just, I'm going to just start crying. it,
I
it just wasn't good. It wasn't good, but I had so much to give. I just didn't know how to express it and I didn't know how to put it into motion. And now I do. And now I do it and I take action.
and
And
I can attest for Dawn also that since I've known her and been working with her for a year, she has been set in these words: abundance, 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 and scarcity mindset. And I thought that was just who she was. I listening to you and what you were talking about, it's like, oh my gosh, to hear that's who she is and not who she was. It's pretty incredible, really.
it's tools. It's just tools. It's tools I've added to my toolbox that I created because, and I use this self-reflection a lot because I remember when I joined EXP and I wanted to do agent attraction, not because I wanted to build the rev share, but because I wanted to build a team of agents to do life with. Like, we're doing life. We go on trips. We see each other. We do these things. And they're very meaningful to me because I never had that before. And the money just follows because I'm doing what I love to do and I'm helping agents. I found a way to take my gifts and put them into an action plan that I could help other people with. And that's an abundance mindset. Whereas I remember when I first joined EXP, and I was doing agent attraction. I wasn't doing agent attraction. I just barely was getting on a call and turning on my video for a Zoom and thinking, I'm going to just say this one coach that Hank of Ink was a coach, and he used to always say things like, "You're not doing the world any favors by not sharing your gifts." And I remember thinking, I don't have any gifts. Like, all I have is stress and fear and negativity and doubt. And like, that's what I had. And I don't have that anymore. That's not my go-to anymore. Abundance is my go-to, but that's why I chose abundance as my word last year. And so, you get to decide how you want to live life.
Yeah, I love it, Dawn. And it's so powerful having known you, for a few years now and seeing where you began and um, just the level of commitment that you put into growing yourself and your business is really beautiful. And I think um, I just want to commend you too for just it's the greater purpose that you've been serving really allowing your gifts to serve the greater purpose, right? That's the give and receive and everything. And that's certainly how we talk about it inside my Money Mastery Academy, because while that is a specific course about healing your relationship with money, I would say that it's really truly about discovering and reconnecting to your natural abundance, which is intrinsic. And yes, the women who go through that program have major financial gains and completely change their lives and in that way. But I think what I'm probably even more proud of is the amount of like happiness, joy, sense of connection, just purpose that comes through, because women are finally allowing themselves to be abundant.
Yeah.
Right. It's a much bigger deal. And, we barely scratched the surface of that in this conversation today, because it really was about agent attraction. But I just want to say thank you. It's truly a joy to be here. I hope that all of you will download the resources, take a listen to, you'll get on email a bonus meditation. And then there's one on that access page where the workbook is. That's a Embody Your Highest Self, which is a really powerful meditation. Go spend some time with that abundant version of you, because that's the truest you. That's the you that it's not someone that you have to become or change a bunch of stuff to be. It's who you already are when you release all the limitations, right?
And follow
It's actually,
Alexandra on Instagram. She does reels and stories and a lot of great reminders that I see every day that I'm like, love that. And it gives me an idea of what I can put together to share that has to do with my journey. So follow her, do that. If you have any questions about the money um, mastery, I'm definitely down to have a call with anyone, because it does a lot more than just the mindset, but it all starts with the mindset for sure.
yeah. I'm all
Awesome.
about the very practical with the spiritual and the mindset. So you're going to build a plan and get your booty into action and work with me. That's also how things come to be.
Yep. Love it. All right. Well, thank you so much, Alexandra. If there's no more questions, we'll end the call. But if anyone has a question, raise your hand. Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right.
Thanks
Well,
for
I love
having
you
me, guys.
guys. Thank you so
Take
much.
care.
I'll see you on the next call. Bye. Thanks, Alexandra.
Thank you.
Bye.